Hi there, it's Richard Van Ommen of the Katana Group here, Europe's leading systemization experts for UK property investors. This is the third of the 3 video series. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the video again. I'm really glad you made it so far. It's very, very exciting for me to go through the next bit of content. A little bit of information that we're going to be going through on this video is, one, what is a good deal? A lot of people have no real understanding of the definition of what a good deal is. Number 2 is how you can actually start to find more deals. And number 3 is how you can start to raise some more money. And then the last one is just a little bit more about how you can engage with us and how we can help you be able to achieve the portfolio and the life of your dreams. So number 1, let's talk a little bit about what a good deal is. So a good property deal, in my definition, is based on return on investment. Now, interestingly enough, I speak to a lot of different people and I get a lot of different stories on what a good deal is. One of the big ones that's come up is, oh, you have to buy below market value. Now, you might recognize this as below market value is, and that's absolutely fine. I get that. The problem is, if you're buying below market value in an area with low demand and your rent doesn't exceed all your bills, is that still then a good deal? Or are you leaving a little bit too vague or a little bit too vast? Below market value is something that you need to consider, yes, but it's not the imperative. Now, another one that comes up is, oh, you need to be able to buy where it'll rent out well. This is a great one. So it'll rent out well. Now, just because it rents out well does not mean that it's going to give you a good income. And what I find a lot of investors do is they go out, they buy a property that will rent well, but because they don't understand how to do the calculations, they leave it so that basically their rent doesn't exceed their mortgage and or their bills, which means either they need to self-manage to break even, or they make a little bit of profit, but as soon as the interest rates move up, which they will, not a lot, but as soon as they move up a little bit, then they will get to a point where they have to then feed their portfolio, which is just not a very good place to be investing in, as you probably realize, because there's only so many of those types of deals you can do. Whereas if you build a portfolio of properties that give you an income, then you can do as many as you can physically pay for, very simply. Okay, so these are a couple of the definitions of what I hear of what a good deal is, but for me it's much more based on return on investment. I'm much more interested in understanding how long it's going to take for me to get my investment back. Before we go into this, let me explain a little bit more about what's called the refinance process. Now, you may or may not understand this process. If you don't, then great, then you're definitely listening at the right point. If you do, then listen in. You never know, you might pick up something slightly different. So the refinance process, if you consider that maybe you buy a house for, say, £50,000, and then you have, of course, got some costs involved in buying and refinancing. So let's say you buy for 50,000, you refurbish the property, so you add value at 20,000. So now you've invested 70,000, plus let's call it 5,000 for other costs for buying and refinancing. So you've invested £75,000. Now, let's say once you've refurbished it, the property is now worth, because you've increased the value through refurbishment, the property is now worth £100,000. And if the mortgage lender will lend you 75% of that, which they will normally lend you on a investment property, providing you get a good enough income from the property, which is something we discuss, they will lend you 75% of the value, which means they will lend you 75% of 100,000, which is 75,000. And you've invested 75,000. So that essentially means the bank is paying you back everything you have invested. So at this point, we call this a money in, money out deal. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be getting a lot of these. They do happen. But what this does is this then shows you that essentially you no longer have any investment in this project anymore. The only person to have an investment in is the bank, which essentially means it's kind of a free property. You don't have any investment in there. Now, whereas if after that investment, the bank had loaned you 65,000, because the value is, say, only 88,000 or whatever it is, and the bank lends you 65,000, but you've got 75,000 invested, that means the amount of money you've still got invested is £10,000. So it's your 75,000 you've invested minus the 65 the bank gives you, leaves 10. Okay. Now this is what we call the money left in. Now for me, I like to invest in a way where I know I'm going to get that money left in paid back in a reasonable amount of time through what we call cash flow. So that's your income after all expenses, as discussed in a previous video. So let's say your income for the entire year is 2,500 after all expenses. You make 2,500 on your portfolio, and you have 10,000 invested in that element of the portfolio, so in that property. So essentially that means you earn 25% of your 10,000 back every single year. Now that would be deemed as a 25% return on investment, which technically means after 4 years, you essentially own the property for free. Now that's where it gets a little sexy, because when you own the property for free, you no longer have any investment involved, but you will be getting an income for the rest of your life for free. And for me, that's how I define what a good deal is. It is based on your return on investment, and I need the return on investment to be at least 25% for me to be able to comfortably say, look, this is a good deal. Now, of course, you're going to have growth of the value of the portfolio or the properties within the area. And right now in the Northwest, it's around 5%. In London, it's actually stagnated a bit, but it varies time to time. Now, we call this bonus money. So any money that you get as an increase in value is always bonus money, but we don't bank on it. I'm much more interested in investing in a way that is kind of market resistant or market proof, which investing for cash flow is. So that's how I define what a good deal is. Hopefully that helps you a little bit in being able to define a good deal, because if you don't know what you're looking for, so if you don't know what a good deal is and you're out there looking for deals and you don't know what you're looking for, you're never going to be able to find it. Whereas now you'll have a definition of what a good deal is. Now you just have to understand how to be able to find more of it. Okay. So next I want to talk to you briefly about how to be able to find more deals. And the way in which we do this is essentially you need to find a way in which you only look at the properties that are worth looking at. As an example, you might be out there looking at every single property that needs refurbishment in the entire marketplace, and you might be looking at hundreds of houses, and there might only be 4 or 5 deals within those hundreds of houses. Now you need a way of being able to filter that down, so you're only viewing 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 houses, and out of those you'll get 2 or 3 deals instead of viewing the hundreds that you would otherwise view. Now, that is essentially where our systems come in. Our systems, essentially, they whittle down the entire market and tell you what to view from the get-go, so you don't go out there and view everything. So come along to one of our trainings and we'll be going through that much more at length. I can't obviously go through everything on a short video. I try and ram everything I can. You've probably noticed I try and give as much info as possible. There's only so much I can fit in 10-minute videos. So that's being able to find a good deal. Now, next one is being able to raise finance. So this is the second biggest challenge and by far one of the biggies. And what you'll find is the vast majority of time, most property investors have a fear of looking out there to raise finance, which kind of baffles me, because if you think about it logically, 99% of the world haven't got any way of being able to generate a return on their money of in excess of 5%. Across most of the world. Now, there's some countries where you can get better returns in the bank through inflation, but generally not really. So if you look at that logically, if they're struggling to be able to even get 5% and you can offer them, say, anywhere between 6 and 12%, essentially what you're doing is you're offering them something they can't get anywhere else. By not offering this, essentially what you're doing is you are stealing an opportunity from the people you love the most, which I find a little bit unfair and a little bit greedy and selfish. So really, you should be out there trying to offer this opportunity to more people. Now, you might have a feeling that you are essentially asking for money and begging for money, but it's completely not true. You're offering an opportunity that they couldn't get elsewhere. So you want to make sure that you focus in a way of building a portfolio that is going to be safe and secure, and their money needs to be secure, so it's not at risk. Okay, but you're offering an opportunity, and in the meantime, their money is invested in one of the most secure assets in the entire world. So on the trainings, we actually go through some of the most, some of the best and well-founded methods to be able to raise finance, places to be able to raise finance, and also negotiation techniques to be able to help you get people to say yes every time. So again, as much as I want to try and give you as much as I can on the video, just know that we'll give you as much as we possibly can at our free trainings. Make sure you click on the link below, and then basically we'll get you connected on the trainings. So last thing that I wanted to discuss is a little bit more about how you can engage with us. So the easiest way to engage with us is just pop along to our website, www.katanagroup.co.uk, and register your information in there and send off a message in the contact us area, and then one of our team will be in touch. They'll be able to send you out the dates of our upcoming live free events, and then somebody will be able to take care of you from there. If needs be, if you want to just have a discussion with me personally, just let the customer service know that you need to have a discussion with me if it's pertinent, and then I'm more than happy to grab a bit of a chat and see how I can help you best grow your portfolio and best build your wealth for the future. So this brings us to the end of our 3-part video series. Hopefully you've had some huge value, and then you see also how this is able to help you grow your portfolio, grow your wealth, and get to a point where you can start to live a life that you deserve and you should be living at. You might feel that in your life you are only living a percentage of what you are capable of, and what really you deserve. And to be honest, I make it my life goal and life mission to be able to get you to a point where you never ever have to worry about working ever again. That is where I'd like to get you, so that you can start to lead a life of what you actually deserve for you and your family. So I look forward to engaging with you in the future. I look forward to spending a lot more time with you. Good luck with absolutely everything if we don't end up speaking and spending time together. I hope you have a fantastic time on your property journey. And yeah, good luck. Thank you very much.